गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrita Anubhav, chapter 3, Vacharana Parihara, and here we are talking about the 4 speeches. Last week we stopped there, and here it was told the Jivatma awakens from his sleep of ignorance, the sleep of Aham Jivatma, I am the individual thought, and now says I am not the Jivatma. Earlier it is I am the body thought, now it is I am not the body thought. Both are only at the level of speech of thought. And then Jnaneshwar Maharaj or our Swamiji goes on to talk about the 4 speeches, because this thought came from the first verse we are looking at, that this waking state is also nothing but sleep only. What is sleep? Where we are ignorant. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of the truth. Ignorant of our essential nature. Are we not ignorant of our essential nature in dream also? Yes. Are we not ignorant of the essential nature in the waking also? Yes. If our attention is on the names and forms, past and future, on the individuality that I am the body, then we are missing the point. And therefore Jnaneshwar Maharaj says a person who is the waker is asleep to his essential nature. And if he says in meditation that I am not the body, I have conquered my body, I can see my body, I am not disturbed by my body, and this dialogue is going on in his mind, he is still sleeping to his essential nature, because before it was I am the individual, and now because he has dropped the body identification and the dialogue is going on that I am not the body now. But he has not realized, he is not abiding in the self. So both are at the speech level only, and speech expresses at 4 levels. Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. In today's meditation we took that point, and again I will reiterate that in the Vaikhari the thought of the object and the object of the thought are separate. The thought of the object is in our mind or in our mouth, and the object of thought is outside. So this bottle, this is the object of the thought. The thought of this bottle, it's in my mind or in my mouth, but the object itself is separate from the mind. This is actually everything is in the mind only, but our experience in the waking is we have bifurcated these two, the thought, the name and the form. We have separated them, and where the separation leads to this grossification of the bottle, that state is called the waking, the Vaikhari or the waking. Then in the Madhyama, the thought of the bottle, thought of the object, and the object of the thought, both are in the mind alone. Both are in subtle. There is no grossification happening there. So there's, and that state is called the dream state. Keep going further back. So from gross to subtle. Now what is the third? Pashyanti. Pashyanti is where the thought of the object and the object of the thought both are unmanifest. The potential to manifest is there, but they have not manifested yet. See? It's like many times we want to remember someone's name and remember how they look. this is not the exact example, but I am telling you how the potentiality is there, but it has not expressed. So someone says, you know that person? Yeah, I know that person. Who is that? Oh, my brother's wife's sister or brother. Yeah. But the form is not coming in front of the eyes, and the name is also not coming in the in front of in the mind. And you are trying. You know, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know it. Yeah, I know it. Where is? But it's not coming. So the potential is there, but it has not manifested yet. So same way, that is the causal state. And if we can remain aware, awake, alert, vigilant, when the unmanifestation of the thought of the object, of the name and form, when it happens, then you are with yourself. If you don't go to sleep or don't imagine something else. If you imagine, again you are in Madhyama. So this was told in the on page 202. Now we start from page 203. So when I am speaking to you, the you people are, if I see your faces, I know those who I know, their names are in my mind. But what that name, if it's saying Dr. Ravi, the Dr. Ravi, that name, it represents something. Name cannot be of nothing. That name represents someone. So that person is outside. See? Now if you speak to me, the form is also in the computer and the sound is also in the computer. I have put it that way. The same way, in the Madhyama, the sound, the word also is in the mind, and the meaning of the word, which is Dr. Ravi, is also in the mind. Now, then, Swamiji says, thus, although one has been awakened by the scriptures, so what are scriptures? What are scriptures? They are nothing but words. They are only words. And there is a meaning associated with the words, with the sentences. See? Thus, although one has been awakened by the scriptures, and the so-called awakened Jiva now says, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. This awakening is again another form of sleep because it is only at the level of the thought. I go deep into meditation. I meditate 6, 7 hours a day. Is also sleep only because objectivity has not been transcended. Duality has not been transcended. Brahman doesn't make a statement like this, that I am very clear, that I know the reality. Brahman doesn't say I know the reality. Only Jiva says that. Brahman doesn't say that I meditated. Jiva says I meditated. So until unless we are not consumed fully, wholly by the Brahman, till then we are in sleep only. Sleep meaning ignorance. And this is, so before I was an individual, before I was a waker, dreamer, sleeper, before I was a meditator, and now with deep contemplation, the realization has come that I am Brahman. And then if the thought is going in your mind, I am that. The teacher told, the scripture told, Tattvamasi, and the seeker, meditator, contemplator came to the realization, I am that. And this is not a realization in the sense of realization, but it is a deep, unshakable conviction within his intellect. And it has appeared as a thought in his mind that I am that. Still, that person doesn't know that he has not realized, because it's only intellectual conviction. Only intellectual conviction. It's incomplete.
Swamiji,
Hmm.
Swamiji, can we say this time as a witnessing time?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
Because the witness is also witnessing something, isn't it? So the mind has come to that,
Yes.
but
Thank you so much.
but the abidance has not taken place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So long as one functions at the level of thought, one is still in sleep. That is, one is not yet established in one's own essential nature. Same thing what I just said. That we are not abiding in our essential nature if we are still at the thought level. So if you are chanting japa 24/7, you are chanting japa, you are not realized, because you are still addicted to thinking, addicted to chanting the name of the Lord. And if you chant from with Vaikhari, then move on to Madhyama, then move on to Vashyanti, and then go to sleep. And then you don't know what happened. And then suddenly, after 1 hour of meditation, you come out of meditation. And they'll say, "Oh, that was so wonderful." You say the same thing in this after sleeping also. It was so wonderful sleep, no disturbance. So here also same thing is happening. You have not come to know the self. You are fooling yourself to say that I was in meditation. You have to be aware. You have to be awake. If you don't know where you were in the sleep, if you are not, if you are in what do you call, in a comatose state, uh, or very simply put, you don't know where you were. Self does not know where it was not, because self is everywhere. And if it is just the witnessing, then it was witnessing. So on the seat of meditation, if we are having this experience, I don't know, then very simple conclusion, we went to sleep. But for everyone else, we are in meditation, because we have trained ourselves to sit straight and go to sleep. Like a donkey and horse, they stand and sleep. So we are sitting and sleeping in a meditative pose. That's all. Both talk of individuality or lack of individuality constitutes bondage. So says Sadachar also. Anything relating to body, mind, intellect, pranas, indriyas, that is senses, etc., fall in the category of objectification and are subject to modification, destruction, and seen difference. If the dialogue is coming in the mind, thought is erupting in the mind, then there is a witness of the thought. The seer seen difference is there. Yes, in witnessing, the seer does not get affected, influenced, enslaved by the thoughts, what it is seeing. That is healthy, but it is not the final destination. See? So all that has happened is the eye, the index finger represents the eye. In witnessing, the eye has separated itself from the gross, subtle, and causal, and it is watching, but it has not merged or recognized itself as the infinite, all pervasive, unborn, undying, immaculate reality. Till that does not happen, you will keep going into meditation, you will keep coming out of meditation, keep going into meditation, keep coming out of meditation. You may be a witness or you may be sleeping. If you know, then you are witness. If you don't know, you are sleeping. So, wherever there is change, it is only at the Prakriti level, at the matter level. And we have just moved from gross matter, the name and form, where there is separation, to subtle matter, where the name and form is in the subtle form, or to the causal matter, that is unmanifest matter, where the name and form is unmanifest. But we are still at the mind level only. This is not being told to judge you. This is being told so that we can fine tune our approach. Because our goal is to come to Paramashiva. And Jnaneshwar Maharaj has come, recognized the Guru Tattva, the Paramashiva Tattva. And he also knows that Paramashiva alone is expressing as Shiva Shakti. It is natural, that is the nature of Paramashiva to express as Shiva Shakti. It is the nature of the Guru Tattva, which is not other than the Paramashiva, to express as Guru Shishya. And in that relationship, Guru knows, Shishya doesn't know. How to come to abide there. Now this third chapter is about paying the debt. So he is saying, in this way, Jivatma, while in sleep, was identified with the Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira, the causal body. Causal body, in the language of the four speeches, Pashyanti Vani, was identified with Karana Sharira, and on waking up is identified with the waking state and considers himself awake. So if we say that I had a good meditation, after the meditation is over, which means meditation is not a state in its true sense. In its true sense, it is not a state. And on waking up is identified with the waking state and considers himself awake. If you are truly awake in meditation, then when you come out of meditation, you will just continue. You will not see that meditative state and the waking state as two separate experiences. Understand this. If we are abiding in the self, such a wise one will not see a distinction between meditation and waking state or any of the states, because he is everywhere. The states can come and go, just like you don't see a distinction. The childhood body has come and gone, teenage body has come and gone, youth body has come and gone, every day is coming and going, and you seem to be the continuous one. You never see yourself divided into, I was not there yesterday, I am there today, and I will not be there tomorrow. These thoughts are not coming in you, because you feel that you have been continuous. These are finer points to fine tune ourselves. Oh, that was a deep, wonderful meditation. Gone. Then it was only a figment of imagination of the mind. and then we'll want to repeat it in the next sitting of meditation. And if it doesn't happen, then we'll be agitated. We'll be restless. Truth is seamless. It's without break. It's homogeneous. It's continuous. Truth we are talking about. And that is the self. It is continuous. And if you realize that you are the continuous one, well, where's the question of I came out of meditation? Where's the question of I'm going into meditation? There will be no divisions created within yourself by way of experience. But in truth, he is still asleep only because he is still identifying with the limitations. Limitations are at 4 places. What are they? Waking, dream, sleep and samadhi. These are 4 limitations. As long as we are rotating in these 4, we will not come to know the truth. We have to get out of this gravity of these 4. The word runa, runa means debt. The word runa has a peculiar meaning in Jnaneshwara's usage. Debt is that which keeps one in bondage. So also under the influence of the 4 speeches, one is bound by each one of them in turn. See? In the olden times, if the father has not paid the debt to the patil of the village, sahukar of the village, then the son has to pay. And if the son has not been able to pay, then the next generation has to pay. Just like if you go to some countries, the nomadic people are very, like Afghanistan and all, they carry the revenge from generation to generation. It passed on to the next family. That family did this, they killed your great grandfather. You have to take revenge. And even after 5, 6 generations, the moment they get a chance, shoot the hell out. See? So that child who is born innocent has been loaded up with the runa, with the debt of taking revenge. Same way. Never take anything. Give. Make others debtor. You don't be a debtor. So if we are at the level of speech, whether it is Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti or Para, including Para, in its limited sense, then we are still at the Prakriti level, we are still at the worldly level. We are not transcendent. Are bound, so also under the influence of the 4 speeches, one is bound by each one of them in turn. And how do you know you are bound in? Because you continue cyclically, you keep going through them. I begin the meditation with Om Namah Shivaya, then it becomes softer, then it becomes unmanifest, then go into meditation, and then I come out again and again I chant Om Namah Shivaya, and the next meditation again it begins. The same thing is going on. Same thing by waking, dream and deep sleep, the cycle is going on and on and on and on. At the level of Vaikhari Vani, Vaikhari gross speech, one considers oneself the waker and is bound by the waking state. At the Madhyama, the subtle speech, that is at the throat level, when one feels bound, One is the dreamer. When one feels bound at the Pashyanti level, one considers oneself to be the deep sleeper. And when one is bound at the Paravani level, one considers oneself to be the Turiya. Turiya meaning I am the meditator. That is also a conditioning. There is nothing called Turiya. Turiya is only told so that we get out of the clutches of waking, dream and sleep. So we are told there is a Turiya. But what? We are so intelligent that we have converted Turiya into a meditative state. I am not waking, I am not dreaming, I am not sleeping, I am in meditation. And we think that is the Turiya state. That is not the Turiya state. Or that is not the transcendental state. But it helps. At least you are not being a trouble in the waking to other people. At least you are not disturbing the imaginary people in the dream. And how do we disturb other people or the world? We disturb other people by our thought, word and deed. And therefore in yoga the first exercise is do not get disturbed by the thought, word and deed of other people, nor disturb the world by the thought, word and deed of yours. First exercise, yama. Then comes niyama. Don't get disturbed by your own thought, word and deed. No guilt, no regrets. So live a disciplined life. But we disregard these two steps and we want to straight away do meditation and keep complaining about our children, about our relatives, about our wife or husband, and we say we are meditating. What? Whom are you tricking? Yourself, nobody else. If you are truly meditating, then there cannot be a word of differentiation that will be uttered. No judgment, no assessments, no opinions. Maunam Vyakhya, then silence. So, very important point. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. All these four states, meaning waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi, these are conditionings. These are limitations. Meditation is not a state of freedom. It is a state of conditioning, limitation. We have to get out of that also. Yes, it is beneficial initially, no doubt. So in all these four planes of consciousness, one feels caught in the clutches of the four vanis, four speeches. Therefore, paying the debt means gaining freedom from the limitation of these four speeches. Huh? See the point that is made. Paying the debt means gaining freedom from meditation also. Then what will be gaining freedom from meditation also? Gaining freedom from meditation or Turiya Tattva also means Sahaja Samadhi. 24/7 you are continuously in yourself, as the Paramatma, as the Atma Tattva or the Paramatma Tattva. Then nothing is outside of you. The entire creation is happening in you. But your attention is not on the creation. Your attention is on your attention is not on anything. How can? Attention is always You put attention only on that which is separate from you. So when there is nothing separate from you, where will be your attention? It will be abiding in itself. If there is no wife, where will the husband go? He will go back to his source, the man. So attention, what we say, I have to put attention, I have to contemplate. Where will the attention go? It will go back to its source, the Paramatma Tattva. No separation, no difference. Therefore, paying the debt means gaining freedom from the limitations of the four planes of consciousness. So when we are doing Vedic chanting, when we are chanting the mantra, don't do it because you want to learn it. Of course, initially all that is okay. But our disposition should be that the Lord has graced me with this opportunity. Even satsang, the Lord has graced me with this opportunity. I must be absolutely aware. I must not get lost in the thought. Remember, thought of the object, object of the thought. So, Shabda and Artha. Our attention should be on the Artha. Our attention should not be on the Shabda. Shabda is the means. Ravi is the means. The word Ravi is the impetus. But what it is represent is the person sitting there. So when I say Om Namah Shivaya, it's the word in my mouth, but what is it indicating? What is the earth of that? Is it only the form? If your attention is only on the form, then you are stuck in the Vaikhari. If your attention is on the form of the Shiva in your mind, then you are stuck in the Madhyama. See? Think. So when we are chanting, when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, when we are reading some texts by ourselves, when we are listening, our attention must be on the earth. And the earth here is not Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. These sentences that are being uttered and being heard by you, what is their meaning? Their meaning is, the indicative meaning is that we are essentially beyond Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti and Para. We are beyond the waking, dream, deep sleep and meditation, Samadhi. And that is our natural state. That is the artha of this sentence. Otherwise we get fascinated by Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti. I have to do something, I have to do Vaikhari, I must practice this, I must do this. No, you have to get to the natural state. Because that is your original disposition, which has never left you. But you are lost in imagination of Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. For even accepting oneself to be transcendental to creation, the Turiya Tattva is not complete knowledge. See what he is saying? He is saying, for even accepting oneself to be transcendental to creation. Transcendental to creation, I am the witness of creation, nothing in the gross, subtle or causal, nothing in the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti disturbs me. Body does not disturb me, world does not disturb me, gods do not disturb me. Why? I am the witness. If you are the witness, you are in meditation. If you are not gone to sleep. But this is also a part of this is in opposition to these three. Before I was attached, now I am detached. Before I was a slave of these three, now I am a witness of these three. So being a witness of these three does not mean I have transcended these three. Yes, at a relative level, you have gone beyond these three, but you have now created a new conditioning, and that new conditioning is called meditation or samadhi. And what is that? I am not disturbed by three is the new conditioning. See, that is the turiya. That is the turiya. We have to go beyond that. Complete knowledge consists in the awareness that I am transcendental to the creation as well as immanent in it. This is the Turiya Avastha. So true Turiya Avastha is not that I am the witness. Oh, now I have to maintain this, I have to go into meditation, I have to keep doing meditation so that I am not disturbed by these three and I can keep exercising this disposition that these three are unable to create any reaction out of me, that I must not give value and importance to these three. This fellow is afraid of these three. Or through willpower he has come, through desire, focused, single pointedness, he has come to this position where he is the observer or the witness of these three. And sometime the meditation will break. When will it break? When you are unaware. It will break. It is bound to break. There is no other solution. Because if we are stuck in the states, waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi, you will keep going in and out of all of them. Then what is true Turiya Tattva? What is the true meaning of Turiya Tattva? That going beyond waking, dream, sleep and samadhi. Meaning where we come to realize that we are beyond this creation, we are beyond the waking, dream, sleep and samadhi, or we are beyond the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. We are beyond. And at the same time recognizing that the material that has gone into waking, the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para is nothing but me alone. See? So without me, these four are not possible. I am unaffected by these four coming and going, I am not affected. But that is not complete. Next is, I alone am expressing through them, or without my presence, these four cannot happen. Both ways you can put it. So we see the masters, hunger comes to them also. If the mosquito bites, they'll try to remove the mosquito from sucking their blood. They also sleep, they also go to toilet. But they are not affected by all that, because there is no ownership. This is what is told here, that they are, I am transcendental to the creation. Creation is that which is coming and going. What is coming and going? Waking is coming and going, dream is coming and going, deep sleep is coming and going, and meditation or samadhi is also coming and going. So whatever is coming and going is creation. So I am transcendental, I am beyond all that. And what is the other? As well as immanent in it, that I alone am in and through that creation. Aha. This realization doesn't happen if you are only going into samadhi and coming out. Samadhi is, for majority of the meditators, samadhi is an escape from the waking, dream and sleep. from the challenges, from the responsibilities. It's an addiction. Samadhi is an addiction. Just like every day waking up to the same wife, to the same children, to the same circumstances, to the same house, to the same investments, to the same body is an addiction. This does not have, this addiction is not there in the dream. Every day new wife, every day new house, every day new body. think outside the box. It will be. We should not get used to any damn thing in this world. So, this is the Turiyavastha. So, true Turiyavastha is where I am transcendental to the changing creation and I am immanent. Immanent is, space is immanent in air, fire, water, earth. The gold is immanent in the ornaments. It's pervading the ornaments. Without the gold, ornament is not possible. And this eminence is not without the sun, day and night are not possible. But the sun is there, day and night is on the earth. There is distance between them. No, it is not like this. It is like water and wave. The water is immanent in the ocean and waves. And water is transcendental to the ocean and waves. Now apply this to yourself. I am immanent in and through the waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi. And I am at the same time transcendental to these four. This entire thought which we are just explaining, the 4th and 5th verse of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatamidam sarvam. Avyakta murtina. Go deep into these two verses. And when we have not contemplated in this manner, subjectively, then samadhi happens. We have taken the breath as a support, when we have taken the mantra as a support, without understanding, just mechanically, samadhi will happen. But when we understand in the manner in which our Jnaneshwar Maharaj is explaining, Shankaracharya ji is explaining, and we have become at one with this knowledge and understanding. And with this understanding, we do the practice of the mantra jap and allow ourselves to wean our mind away from Vaikhari to Madhyama, Madhyama to Pashyanti, Pashyanti to Para. Then the Para that you will access, only once you have to access, not the Samadhi Para, but the actual Para, where I am the transcendental, beyond everything, free, ever free, yet present in and through the creation, or in other words, the creation and me are one. See, that is eminence. Then there will be no objectivity possible, no separation possible, no otherness. How can there be no otherness and there is still oneness? Just like you are seeing all the limbs of your body, otherness, but you feel you are one. You don't feel you are separate from your body. You feel you are pervading the whole body. You are pervading all the limbs, inside, outside, every cell. See? Think like this. Imagine this bhava expanded to infinity. Everything, everyone. Very simply put, you are present in. Without you, the waking, dream, deep sleep are not, and meditation are not possible. You are the permanent, common denominator, the constant factor, the substratum of waking dream, deep sleep, samadhi. Everything that is there in the variety that is seen in waking and dream and absence of them in dream, deep sleep and samadhi, everything is in you only, as you only. Then there is no question. This we are using these words for you, for our communication. But from that point, there is nothing other. But we see Mahatmas, they say, now I am hungry now. But because the word hunger is there, he has not created duality. I have to go to the other village, the devotee is there. He is not seeing him as separate. That is only the totality functioning out of through that equipment. The Mahatma is ever transcendental and eminent. Thus, the jivas in debt to reach to each vani, so long as it identifies itself with the waker, dreamer, meditator, or the turiya tattva. The debt is paid when it de-identifies itself from the illusory bondage and frees itself from it. So waker identified with the waking world is an illusion. Dreamer identified with the dream world is an illusion. What do you mean by that? The waker also is an illusion and the waking world is also an illusion. Dreamer is also an illusion and the dream world is also an illusion. Why? Because they come and go. What comes and goes? That which is not real. Change is the phenomena of change is not real. Real does not change. From childhood till now the body has changed, but you don't feel you have changed. The breath has changed. The white hair have become black hair. Health changes, thoughts change, emotions change. Waking, dream, samadhi or deep sleep, they change. But I don't feel I have changed. I am there. Yeah, I had the experience of waking. I was dreaming. I was sleeping. I was meditating. But I was the constant. But what is this? What is the nature of this I? Truly, that we have never inquired. That we have never inquired. We are just mechanically. Yeah, chalo bhai, morning, Sunday morning meditation. Let's wake up in time and we'll get ready for meditation or the class. Mechanical. Attention is on the class. Attention is not on the conscious principle. Let's go for chanting. Chanting is the focus. The self is not the focus. When the self is focused, very quickly you will wean away from the gross, from the gross to the subtle, if you are aware. And from subtle, you will not go into the causal. You will bypass the causal and go into turiya. Those who do not go to turiya, they go to causal. But if you are aware, awake, and not sleeping, as Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, then only three: waking, dream, and straight turiya. Either you are in meditation or you are sleeping. And both the states is where thoughts subside. So you cannot have both. It can be one or the other. And if you are truly awake, then you will transcend all the four or all the three, whichever way you put it. Thus, the jiva is in debt to each vani so long as it identifies itself with the waker, dreamer, meditator, or the turiya tattva. The debt is paid when it de-identifies itself from the illusory bondage and frees itself from it. Okay. One lady is there and she had cancer, and I said she was wanting what should be her approach towards the cancer, lung cancer. And we were chatting, and then I just out of curiosity I asked, because I known her for a few years, 5-6 years I have known her now. So I said, how do you feel? And she looked at me, because nobody had probably not asked that question. Everyone has been showing pity on her. Poor thing, you know. Now she's in her 60s. At this age, having cancer, poor thing, you know, and the children are also sad, and the husband is also sad, and the relatives are also sad, and the friends are also sad. But here someone is asking, hey, how do you feel? And she thought about it for a few moments, and then she said, Swamiji, I am relieved. I said, what are you relieved about? And she says, before I have to go, even at this age, I have to go to take care of the grandkids. I have to always call, either they call me or I have to call my kids. Then there are social responsibilities. Somewhere marriage is taking place, somewhere birthdays are going on, somewhere 60th anniversary is going on, somewhere something is always going on, and I find myself every day rushing to the supermarket to find some present or the other, or buying the flowers, ordering the flowers online in order, because I can't go empty handed. If someone has called me, then I have to call back. If someone has given a present, I must also give present back. It was such a huge load of responsibility that I was carrying on my shoulders, and I felt that I cannot, how do I get out of it, but I don't know how to get out of it. And I am relieved. Now I don't have to do any of those things. If anyone says, why don't you come over, we are just down the street, no, I got cancer. I will not come. I stay at home. If children ask, Mom, come over and take care of the children, no, you take care of your children, I'm not feeling 100%. Just like you, me, every one of us run here, run everywhere for last so many years. And coronavirus came, and we find we didn't need to run so much. We didn't need to be socially so active. Everything can, we didn't have, the employees are finding and employers are finding, we don't need office space. People can work from home. No travel. It's a big relief. When we have paid the debt, or we have gone beyond the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, we will be relieved. Nothing, no responsibility, no social responsibility, no family responsibility. Why? Everything is the self. This thought only will not come. And you will be free. Think. You will be relieved. Now when I use the word relieved, you will be relieved, I will be relieved. In Turiya Tasmai, absolutely relieved. I can't say you and me. It will be absolutely relieved. Then there is nothing to do and nothing to achieve and nothing to run away from, and nothing to carry as a load, because everything I am, and yet I am transcendental. then there is no desire, then there is no guilt, then there is no expectation, then there is no disease, there is no hunger and thirst. No, we see Mahatmas being hungry and having disease also. Disease is for the body, not for you. Or you can put it other ways, because you are everything, pervading everything, eminent in everything, then nothing affects you because you are everything. Problem only begins where something becomes other than you. Then the problem begins. And this process of Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para is a way to transcend and pay our debts to the creation through our speech and come to establish ourselves in our true state, which is the true Turiya Avastha, not meditation, true Turiya Avastha. And what is that Turiya Avastha? It is not that Avastha out of which you can go in and come out. Turiya Avastha is that once you recognize yourself to be complete, yourself to be the self, then from that moment onwards, Purnamada Purnamidam. All we have to do is pay the debt. Pay the debt to the waking, pay the debt to the dream, pay the debt to the Pashyanti and Para. Debt cannot be paid to the creation. Debt cannot be paid to the creation. And this is what is told in the Karma Yoga. Then karma is activity. Perform the activity as an offering to the divine. So when we are chanting the name of the Lord, it will all this will be told in further upcoming verses. When we are chanting the name of the Lord, don't have the ownership. I am chanting. No, chant in such a way that you are invoking, you are surrendering, you are remembering, you are what you want to merge into the divine that mantra represents. Then we are paying the debt. Then we are paying the debt. And where all the debts are paid, you can't decide when the debt will be paid. You can't decide when the sleep will come. All you can do is think of the sleep. You can't decide when the debt will be paid. So you keep doing the sadhana with earnestness, sincerity, right focus, understanding, the way Jnaneshwar Maharaj is explaining. And when the debt is paid, the last debt is paid, that very moment everything will be over. From that moment onwards, creation as the Jivatma knows as creation. Meaning, first the Jivatma understood, the individual understood creation to be only the waking. When he comes to the scriptures, he is told, hey, stupid fool, there is creation called dream creation also. And there is absence of these two creations called deep sleep. Yeah, I know, I dream, I sleep also. So they are also creation. Then what is your experience of creation? Waking, dream and sleep is my experience of creation. Oh, I never thought of it that way. Then as he starts contemplating in this way, then another meditation also becomes. Then he gives up the sleep and he goes into meditation. But he is still moving around in creation only. And when he transcends the creation, then when he looks back, is there creation? Will there be creation? No. Then when he looks back, everywhere I am. There is no place that I am not. Then from the Turiya Tattva, is there creation? No. Then from Turiya Tattva point of view, what is there? Ekameva Dvitiya. One without a second. And that one without a second is Purnamada Purnamidam. It's complete, it's whole, without any divisions. And that is your true nature. And we are lost in this me versus you, waking versus dream and sleep, or samadhi inside and samadhi and outside. So this is one technique, application, scientific application given to the Jivatma, that if you practice this with the right understanding, you will start disidentifying from Vaikhari. If you disidentify from the gross speech, means you have disidentified from the waking. If you disidentify or go beyond the Madhyama, which means you now the dream is no more a challenge or a problem, and so on. Which means we have paid the debt. And when there is nothing to go beyond, then we are that infinite, pure consciousness. However, the bondage and freedom of each successive level are still at the thought level and are still only bondage, which are nothing but only different degrees of sleep. So understand, you need a cool mind to understand. What is, we say, waking state is gross, dream state is subtle, and deep sleep state is causal. So when we say, if deep sleep state is causal and it is a state of ignorance, what is the effect of ignorance? Waking and dream. Okay. What is the effect of ignorance? Waking and dream. And one more is there. That is the meditation also is there. So this is the effect. Now, if gold is the cause, what is its effect? Ornament. Is the ornament other than gold? No. If the substratum is mud, what is the cause? And what is the effect? Pot. Is the pot other than mud? No. If the cause is deep sleep, ignorance, Jnaneshwar Maharaj doesn't use the word ignorance. He says incomplete knowledge is incomplete knowledge. Then the effect of that deep sleep state is what? Out of deep sleep, which is unmanifest thoughts, when they become manifest, then you get two states, waking and dream. So how can waking and dream be something more intelligent, more have an independent existence? They are effect of the deep sleep. They are effect of the ignorance. So that which is effect of ignorance is also ignorance. That which is effect of ignorance is also ignorance, and therefore if the ignorant state is sleep, then effect of sleep, which is called waking and dream, are also essentially sleep only, because in all these three states you are asleep to your true nature. See, it's just the angle of approach that we are taking. Maybe you have thought it in this way, maybe you have never thought in this way. See? But all this waking, dream, sleep, meditation, realization are only at the thought level. We have to go beyond thought. So here Swamiji is saying that these states are nothing but different degrees of ignorance only. Ignorance, another way Shankaracharya explains is, Upanishads also explain that ignorance gives rise to desire and desire gives rise to action. And we are lost in action and desire. No, 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 I am not ignorant. I am pursuing the studies, I have a desire for realization. That desire for realization has come also, the source of that desire to realize is also, the source is ignorance. That source is ignorance. Recognize this. And that desire to realize is making you study scriptures, speak on scriptures, do pujas, do sadhana, etc., etc., etc. Vaikari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, chanting, pilgrimages. All this is out of ignorance only. And therefore he is saying that all these states are nothing but sleep only. You are saying waking, I am awake, I am listening, this is sattvic state. But it is all coming from there. This is only so that we feel good about ourselves and become inspired to transcend. So we say the word sattvic is given. Actually speaking, there is nothing sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. From absolute standpoint, there is nothing called sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. From absolute stand, there is only the absolute. From space point of view, there is nothing called air, fire, water, earth. From space point of view, only Akash is there. From gold point of view, there is nothing called the necklace, gold necklace, the gold ring, the gold bracelet. No, from gold's point of view, only gold is there. From water point of view, there is nothing called ocean and waves and droplets and froth and tides and tsunami. No, from water's point of view, there is only water. If you are catching the gist of thought that I am presenting, you have to be that. Absolute is that. From absolute standpoint, there is only absolute. Then there is no waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi. But we see Mahatmas sleeping, we see Mahatmas waking, we see Mahatmas snoring. What you are seeing is the body. You are not seeing the Mahatma. What you are seeing is the gross. The disposition of Mahatma is, you cannot even imagine, because only mind imagines. And that transcendental state is beyond mind. How the four speeches are useless and meaningless in the kingdom of the divine and are only expressions of ignorance is explained in the next OVE. Same point is coming, that these four expressions, Vaikari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para, are expressions of Maya, are expressions of ignorance, are expressions of avyakta, are expressions of the causal state, are expressions of incomplete knowledge, and therefore they are worthy of discard. Don't be too serious about it. If you want to be serious, don't be you want to be serious or sincere. But for us, oh, I am doing puja seriously, I am doing, without a fail I do puja every day. That means you got a puja ego. I do chanting every day, you got a chanting ego. I take satsang every day, then I got a satsang ego. See, don't get stuck anywhere. Everything that comes and goes is worthy of discarding, is worthy of renunciation. Tyage naike amrittatva manashuhu. Kaivalya Upanishad says, only through renunciation immortality is possible. So when we have paid all the debt, renunciation, we have given up the waking, we have given up transcending waking and coming to Madhyama is paying the debt of Vaikhari. Then from Madhyama we move on, then we have paid off the debt of Madhyama. So let your activity, and activity again we keep repeating this, activities at the level of Manasa Vacha Kaya. All your activity must be as an offering to the divine. Then purification will happen. Then these meanings, what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, then it will click. What does Jnaneshwar Maharaj say here? Yevi paradika chaudhi jiva moksha cha upegi avidye save angi vechati kira. Although the four forms of speech, which are limbs of ignorance, help the jiva to attain liberation, they have to disappear before the final emancipation. See? Even though the waker helps to, if waker wants to go beyond waking, what he has to do? He has to think of sleep. Who is thinking of sleep? The waker is thinking of sleep. Then what happens? It is helping the waker thinking of sleep, which waker can never imagine what it is like. But waker invokes it, he contemplates on it, he thinks about it, and that allows, thinking about it allows the waker to dissolve and transcend the waking. Then he is in sleep. Not the waker is in sleep. He is transcended the waker. Same way, here the four speeches, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, these four forms of speeches which are expressions of ignorance, are limbs of ignorance, help the jiva, help the limited individuality to attain liberation. But liberation is what? Where these four limbs have to dissolve, disappear, melt away. And only then the final consummation, only then the absolute will be able to express. Although the four Vanis are useful to the jiva to gain liberation, they are all parts, limbs of the same original ignorance or avidya. Avidya, incomplete knowledge. Avidya, self-forgetfulness. Avidya, ignorance. It is because of incomplete knowledge. Jnaneshwar Maharaj uses ignorance, avidya, as incomplete knowledge. It is because of incomplete knowledge that the four Vanis are expressed as different conditionings. Only because we have not realized the self, therefore we are available to waking, dream, sleep and meditation. If we are available to the self, then these four don't matter, whether they happen or don't happen, because phenomena will continue. So because of incomplete knowledge, of our own being, what is its true nature? You know you are I know I am. Everyone knows they are. But what they are, majority of the people are lost in the Gaunatma, the virtual reality, the virtual self. What is that? I am the husband, I am the wife, I am the child, I am the parent, I have got responsibility, etc. Blah blah blah, and goes on. This is the virtual self. Then some people, by grace of God, they come to the Mithyatma. They understand these roles are only ghosts. I am the man. All the roles are superimposed on me. And he attends the satsangs, he comes to know that he is essentially the self. So now he can't, but he hasn't realized the self. And then he starts working. He thinks that he is the person, and he comes to start working on the body, breath, mind, intellect. That I have to sort this out in order to know to be realized. How much can you work on the mithya? Mithya means illusion. Body, breath, mind, intellect are mithya. How much time do you spend on your dream body every morning when you wake up? Zero. In a flash of a moment you forget everything. But we have given it so much serious thought and committed ourselves to the waking. It is a dream, it is mithya. Then what is our true nature? So, considering ourselves to be Gaunatma, considering ourselves to be Mithyatma is incomplete knowledge. Then who are we? We are Mukhyatma, the absolute knowledge. What is that absolute knowledge? Which never changes. Gaunatma keeps changing. Sometimes we are husband, sometimes we are son, sometimes we are brother. Mithyatma, when we consider ourselves to be the body is also changing every day. Every few years, I was so healthy before, now I am not healthy. I was so fit before, now I am not fit. Mithyatma. This is incomplete knowledge, where we are focused on the changing. Why? Because we have incomplete knowledge about ourselves, of our own being. And then when we are told, when we come to this exercise or when we come to the various scriptures, Vivek Chudamani, etc., Upanishads, we are told, you are Satchidananda Swarup Parabrahma. Acha, how do I am that? Riya, you are that. See, all scriptures are saying, see, all Mahatmas are saying, those who are realized. Really? Then again, then what do I have to do? Be that. That will be complete knowledge. But because we are so addicted to incomplete knowledge, we are so addicted to the changing, then we say, what do I have to do? So then we try to sort out. We try to sort. We try to rearrange the pieces. And the pieces are Annamay Kosh, Pranamay Kosh, Manomay Kosh, Vijnanmay Kosh. We are trying to rearrange the pieces. That if I fix these all, then I will transcend. But where is our focus? Our focus is still on the body. Our focus is still on the body. And you have to do that. There is no other way. You have to rearrange, which is called integration, which is called synchronization, which is called single pointedness, which is called continuously contemplating on your essential nature. You have to do that. There is no other way. But don't get lost in the means. Don't get lost in the means. Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para are the means. They are not the goal. Gross body, subtle body, causal body, meditation are the means. That's not the goal. But we get lost in the means. See, getting lost in the means is like at Vaikhari level, when you are lost in the means, you will become a great singer with all the ragas at your fingertip, but no bhav. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate. No bhav. You can say it in all different ragas. Because you have given importance to the Vaikhari, you have given importance to the waking, which means incomplete knowledge. But if you learn the ragas, you chant the bhajan, but your attention is always on the supreme goal, the absolute, then that same rag can become a doorway. Then that the various ragas will become a way of purification, not not of addiction. See, it is because of incomplete knowledge that the four vanis are expressed as different conditionings. But when one comes to discover one's own essential nature, where nothing is included, Vyatirek, the transcendental aspect of the truth, or everything is included, Anvaya, the immanent aspect of the truth is exclusively experienced as simultaneously transcendental and immanent. Same point that was told in the previous verse, again Swamiji is reiterating it. We are focusing only on the Vyatirek. Where I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the breath, I am not the... That is only one aspect of it. A coin has two sides, heads and tails. You are focusing only on the tail. There is a head side also. A day is made up of two things. What? Day and night. But you are focusing only on the day. What about the night? Same way, we are focusing only on the Vyatirek. Vyatirek is I am that which is independent of everything. I am independent of everything. Gold is that in which there is no ornament, Vyatirek. And Anvay, gold is that in which all the ornaments are in the unmanifest form or manifest form. It's all inclusive. Transcendental and immanent. But when one comes to discover one's own essential nature, what is our essential nature? I am independent, transcendental of Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. I am independent, transcendental, above. I am the eternal witness, separated, unaffected, uninfluenced by waking dream, deep sleep samadhi. This is Vyatirek. They do not affect me, they do not touch me. Ornament cannot touch the gold. because ornament is an imagination. Husband cannot touch the man. Husband is an imagination. Similarly, body cannot touch the consciousness because body is an imagination. It's a phenomena. Now keep taking that. Thoughts cannot touch. Therefore, the scriptures say, "Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha." The speech cannot reveal the truth. The mind cannot comprehend the truth through thoughts. Not possible. Why? Whatever is changing is phenomena. Whatever is phenomena is existing in its own absence. It is mithya. It is illusion. And what is truth? It is the permanent. It never changes. And we have to come to that point. So first way is we have to these both things have to happen. And what is that? Vyatirek and Anvaya. Vyatirek is I am transcendental to everything. Nothing touches me, disturbs me, invokes a reaction from me. So when you say what is the Atmic point of view? Atmic point of view, there is nothing called body. Because body is only a mithya. Waking, dream, deep sleep is only a mithya from Atmic point of view. That will be Vyatirek. And Anvaya will be when you come out of meditation, you see the whole world. अरे फिर से आ गया यहाँ पे मिथ्या में. नहीं, you have to change now. What is that? That this whole, this entire is in me. The waking, dream and sleep are in me. So everything that is included in the waking state and waking experience. Which what is that? The waker, the waking world and the waking experience is in me. Now in that happens when you say it is in me, what will happen? The waker will vanish. The waking experience is taking place, waking of the waking world, but there is no owner. And where there is no owner, then the waking experience and the waking world, where is it happening? In the mind. But no individuality comes about. No waker individuality is born. Same way, no dream individuality is born. No waker person, no dream person. Yet the phenomena will continue. Because phenomena, what is phenomena? That which is existing in its own absence. That is called mithya vastu. A rainbow is a mithya vastu. It's existing in its own absence. The blueness of the sky, it is existing in its own absence. The mirage, Mrugtrishna, it is existing in its own absence. The husband is existing in his own absence. But that we have taken to be real. This has to change. For that, a regular concerted effort using the means that are available and being very clear as to what the goal is. If you do the practice of Vaikari Madhyama Pashyanti Para without understanding that your true nature is transcendental and immanent, Anvaya and Vyatirek and Anvaya, till then you will keep going into meditation and keep coming out of meditation. Final consummation, meaning final emancipation, will not take place. Self-realization will not happen. How are the four Vanis useful? This topic we will see it in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Have a wonderful day. Catch you whenever